my name is Aura, and I'm the host of Collective Mind, and I'm here with Onyx, who's my fiance, and the host of the Primal Pack. And I forgot everything.
You're gonna react to the Sandra Sides video?
Yeah! We're gonna react to Sandra Sides using my motivation, which is another episode I really like.
Are we doing these in order?
No, not even close.
Okay.
This one is before the other one that me and Sid reacted to, and we skipped a bunch of them.
Okay.
As we get into the later ones, we won't skip as many because they start getting more like plot and character development heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be, but like I'm skipping some that aren't as interesting to look at from a DID perspective, because that's what we're doing, is looking from a DID perspective. And I'm not Widow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like you keep saying that, but it's never true.
I am sometimes not Widow. Really? Just apparently never on camera.
No, you go little all the time.
I know I go Widow a lot.
It's
I go
you're
Widow
short.
if I get...
It's just a short drop for you.
I go Widow if I get really excited, or if I get really nervous, or if I get really embarrassed, or anything like that. Anyway, we'll start the video so we can react.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how many YouTubers does it take to screw in a light bulb? One to screw in the light bulb, and another one to help stabilize the ladder during the installation. Thought that was gonna be a joke? Home maintenance is not a joke. What is up, everybody? Man, you are in for a treat, because for today's video, I got nothing. I'm sorry, what? I don't know logic. I just don't really know what to talk about. Preposterous. There's an infinitesimal amount of things in this bizarre, massive universe, brimming with exciting mysteries, and you don't really know what to talk about? What?
So, I'm gonna already interrupt to say...
That was quick.
This feels like it's personally calling me out for not making videos all of the days that I said I was going to lately. I'm just gonna throw that out there and then move along.
Well, I didn't look into any topics, and I just kind of flew into this video without any prep. Why did you do that? I don't know logic. I know it defies logic. I'm just a textbook procrastinator. Oh no, you procrastinate on a lot more than just reading textbooks. But more importantly, procrastination is not the cause, it is the effect. A reaction due to something else going on. Wait, really? Any idea what might be causing your lack of motivation? If I knew, I probably wouldn't be procrastinating as much. Then we must get to the bottom of this. What is the culprit? The game is on. What are you, Sherlock? Yes, apparently you are.
So I have a headcanon about this that I just decided, which is that Logan has a subsystem that has Sherlock in it.
Okay.
So he just switched with Sherlock from his subsystem.
Makes sense.
I really like this headcanon. I think it works really well, and it would make a lot of sense.
Brain farts and headcanons today? You're really blowing your mind.
Rude.
No, it was a pun.
I know it's a pun, but I think it's also rude.
But it's punny.
Fine, you can get away with this one.
Didn't take you for the dress-up type. This is strictly to get me in the mindset for deductive reasoning. All business. I'll be Watson! No, you can't play with us! All business, huh? Sherlock always has a Watson to help with deduction. Morality, you play no part in deduction. Look, I've got a scarf too. Are you wearing the cardigan that is usually wrapped around your shoulders? I've been waiting for this day to wear it. Okay, yeah, you're gonna let him play. Fine. Yay! Now, Thomas, when you think about getting started with a video or any other big project, what are some of your immediate feelings? You know, I would say nervousness. I want to make sure that whatever I make, people would enjoy it. You deduced it too? No, I found $1 in my pocket. Oh, it was in my cardigan since my character was first introduced. Isn't that something? Oh my goodness. Anxiety! Rude much? I was just touching up my eyeshadow. You actually look in a mirror to put that on? Did you actually look in a mirror when you put that on? Wow, jeez. Can I help you? Yeah, do you have any quarters? I have grounds to suspect that you are...
that's fair. Like, that happens where a protector or someone like that wants someone else, and they're just like, hey, you, come here, or triggering someone up without talking about it or like getting their consent for it. He was busy.
Yeah.
Like, anxiety was busy. They were doing something and touching up something that's part of who they are.
Yeah.
And they have every right to be cranky about their life just randomly being interrupted inside. Because a lot, like, if you're doing something outside and then someone's just like, no, that video you were in the middle of watching, nope, you don't get to do that. You have to come help me do this thing now that I want to work on.
Yeah.
And it can lead to a lot of frustration. So, like, making sure to talk with people to make sure they're either not busy or set up rules for it. Like, for anybody that's watched Fairy Tale, you know, like, Lucy has a lot of, like, for the summoning, there's, like, contracts.
She makes contracts.
And, like, you know, don't do it on this day kind of thing.
Yeah, they set boundaries. It
doesn't have to be specifically days, but, like, you know, heads up kind of thing, you know, talk to me first. Don't do it like this if I'm asleep, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Those are always good things to talk about.
Yeah, it also, I'm going to point out again, we pointed this out in the other video too, but is definitely a system thing for like for a lot of systems, not necessarily all systems, but for alters who aren't fronting to be busy doing something inside while they're not fronting. Like, they're not just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. They're like doing stuff. And so is totally realistic to, like, from a DID perspective, to interrupt an alter who is in the middle of doing something inside by pulling them up front or pulling them somewhere else inside or whatever. Yeah.
Are the cause of Thomas's procrastination. Not that I'm disagreeing with you, but what are these grounds?
So, okay, I'm pausing again because the overall premise of this whole video also strikes me as very realistic to DID, because it is extremely common for protectors in particular to be like, okay, so there's this problem going on, whose fault is it?
Let's go to the usual suspects.
Right, exactly. We're gonna go to the persecutors and be like, what are you doing to mess this thing up?
Onyx, did you get into the no-no zone again? No, shut up. I'm fine. I'm over here next to the no-no zone. I ain't going.
Yeah, but, like, it's a really easy thing to fall into, of just being like, oh, Thomas said he was nervous, that means it's anxiety's fault. And it's like,
yeah.
Or something else is also triggering anxiety. Like, that's not the only way to see that. But they immediately jump to that conclusion because they're used to thinking of him as the problem. So, that, like, the overall idea of looking for the cause of a problem that's going on by going through different alters and being like, this seems like it could have something to do with you, like, seems totally realistic to me. But also, immediately jumping to the conclusion that it's a persecutor first definitely strikes me as realistic.
You definitely got it. Yep.
Yep.
And I agree with that, and I understand that stereotypes and like the thing when people jump to conclusions exist for a reason. Like, people assume that someone is the likely suspect because they've been the suspect before.
Right.
I understand that, but going into a problem or trying to find a solution with the mindset of it's this person is a problem instead of what could be causing the problem.
Right.
Like, Logan is treating the issue with Thomas, like, their productivity, as, like, something they have to discover, but not anxiety. He doesn't come at anxiety with the, you know, has anything been going on? Are you okay? Like,
right.
It's
exactly.
You did this kind of thing, or you're the likely suspect. Instead of questioning, they're accusing, and it's like arresting someone to bring them in and, like, question them instead of just asking them the questions on the street. Like, it's a lot more serious, and it doesn't need to be, and that can foster a lot of negative feelings.
It doesn't fit well with the version of Logan that he likes to portray himself as, but I think it fits his actual character very well, because the way that, like, the logical thing to do, he claims he's coming at this totally from deductive reasoning, would be to follow a lead and then ask more questions, like he did with Thomas to start the video, not get a hunch and immediately accuse that person of doing the thing. So, but it fits his actual character pretty well because he has some arrogance issues at times.
Yeah.
Of, I'm inherently right because I'm the logical one type thinking. And all of you are distracted by your emotions, which I clearly don't have, which isn't true, but he likes to pretend is true. So
he's above it all.
Mm-hmm. He thinks he can see everything clearly because he's not clouded by emotions, but he is clouded by emotions, and the fact that he's in denial about it arguably makes him, like, less able to judge correctly past the emotions. Anyway.
Thomas has related to me that he is anxious about how his video will turn out. So, rather than start it, he is avoiding it. It's you, anxiety, isn't it? You're the one causing him to worry about those things.
I'm sorry to pause it immediately again.
It's okay.
But logic is twisting Thomas's words.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say he was anxious. He just said he didn't know what to do.
Well...
And specifically, he didn't use that exact wording, but because of the way Logan is thinking and his first thoughts with it, he's saying, instead of what Logan said, he's paraphrasing just a tad bit and changing the words, which can change a lot. Choosing your words carefully when you communicate is very, very important, because he's feeling anxious, and then he just points to anxiety. It's like, see, it's your fault because he's feeling anxious. This is obviously your fault because he's doing this thing that is literally your name. So obviously you're to blame.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to straight up accuse you because I'm having this thought. Yeah. And I've spearheaded this investigation and given myself power, therefore I get to be righteously angry, and on and on and on, and it's not fair. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's really important to listen closely, and even if you hear something a certain way, pay attention to the words that are being said, because the way and what is being said is just as important as how you receive it. Mm-hmm. Because systems in general have trauma. That's just the thing. And trauma makes you see things differently. If somebody asks if you want to do something, you could be instantly scared about that, because that could have any number of possibilities aside from like sexual, physical, any kind of abuse, and it could be a trap. You could be seeing it a certain way, and that's why it's really important to pay attention to what someone is saying and not how you receive it all the time.
And no one is immune to being biased, but I also think it's helpful here to point out that a tricky thing in systems sometimes can be like remembering the fact that someone can be the cause of something without it being their fault. Because, like, say I suddenly get overwhelmed with like sadness and I don't know where it's coming from, and it's emotional bleed from another altar, but that altar's having a flashback. That's not their fault, but they are causing the reaction I'm having. So like that's an important distinction that a lot of people have trouble seeing sometimes, but it's really important because it's a more effective way to handle the situation, to try to help the altar who's struggling than to like get mad at them for causing a problem, you know?
Yeah.
things. Avoiding things is my specialty. I'm the one who earned him his temple run record of 2012. Memories. Can't be a bad video if you never make one. Okay, so is there anything that can be done? I would say the first thing to do is to trust yourself that you have what it takes to do the project well. Whatever comes, you have to allow yourself to make mistakes. Not everything can be perfect. It's all a growing process. And when in doubt, remember everything we do is all pointless anyway.
I also like to point out that this strikes me as very realistic persecutor behavior to, especially if they're upset, like if they're feeling insulted for being blamed for something, to get prickly like that and kind of want to be like, well, what if I did do it? That's the kind of thing I would do. You're right. I would do something like that. What are you going to do about it? Like, to just kind of have that attitude toward it. Like, if you're going to treat me like the bad guy, what reason do I have not to be the bad guy? Yeah. Anyway, that was my thought.
Bleak, but I appreciate you trying to contribute. You're not welcome. Well, case closed. Brilliant! Elementary, my dear daddy. No, well, actually, I don't know. I mean, sure, there's nothing really for me to be scared of, but I don't know. I'm still not feeling it. Maybe, I could come back to this later. Thomas, are you implying that logic was not sound? Anxiety's the antagonist. I'm not always the bad guy.
See right there, perfect example. Like,
yes.
Logic jumped to a conclusion and an assumption without all of the evidence, and just because they didn't really think it through or put effort into it. That's another, logical trap that people can fall into. Sid especially used to fall into that a lot, of just the usual suspect kind of thing, and then you don't put all of the effort into it, and you miss something key and obvious, and you don't pay attention to it. And that's part of why he pays attention so much to everybody else, and why you guys accuse him of reading your mind all the time, is because he pays attention now, and he had to learn that over a long time. But paying attention is so important to every detail.
That one line from Anxiety always hits me so hard, and especially now looking at it from a DID context, reminds me every time that persecutors are almost always trauma holders. And handling situations with them, keeping that in mind, and even probably fairly forefront in your mind, can help the situation a lot more, because Anxiety feels attacked right now, and he has a right to feel that way. He's being accused of something with essentially no evidence, and he was pulled to the front against his will when he was in the middle of doing something that he enjoys, and that calms him down, and that helps him with his self-expression and being comfortable in his own skin and all of that. And he's suddenly pulled to the front and immediately accused of being the problem, not even of causing the problem. And it's okay for him to feel attacked by that, because he's being attacked, and it's okay for him to get defensive and prickly about that. That's a trauma response of, if you're gonna attack me, I'm gonna defend myself, and if you're gonna treat me like I'm big and scary, I'm gonna maintain that that impression so that you don't hurt me kind of logic. And just that one line of "I'm not always the bad guy" is just so good, because it's like a mental exercise I do with myself a lot when I have trouble understanding why an alter would be behaving the way that they are, is to trick myself into empathizing with them, to think about it from a different perspective by thinking of them as a kid who's being hurt. Because that's the mindset that a lot of persecutors are in at their core. And that can very quickly bring me around from "you're being really mean and you have no reason to be" to "you're scared and you think this will protect yourself
and I can understand that, but you don't need to do that right now. What can I do to help you feel less scared? Which is a much more helpful response.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course you're not, big guy. Of course! That would have been too obvious. There must be something else other than me. Think, ponder, deliberate. Of course! What is it? What do you need to do a video? A camera! Correct, but think more generally. What starts you down the path on any big job? A big job application. Why do I even try? Can I take a stab? Who gave him a knife? An idea.
Again, interpreting literally everything a persecutor says or does as a problem and an attack and dangerous and stuff like that can also be unhelpful, because it's common, at least in our system, for persecutors to have a pretty dark sense of humor. And it's obviously okay to be cautious, but always jumping to the conclusion of they're being totally serious can make a lot of things spiral out of control that were meant to be jokes. So, and like in that case, that's a figure of speech that logic and figures of speech, not his strong suit, but yeah.
He needs an idea. Oh, yes. And in order to do that, he needs to be creative. You're looking for his fanciful side. You called? I did not. Princey, you were in charge of bringing Thomas inspiration. What happened? I'm sorry, what is happening here? Logic and I are playing dress up, anxiety is making us question our existence, and I found $1.
Okay, that just... So, it's a super, super common thing in our system for someone to front suddenly or get pulled to the front suddenly for whatever reason and to immediately be like, I'm in the middle of something. What is it? Because amnesia is a part of a lot of systems, and at least some kind of amnesia is a part of probably all systems, but no.
No, OSDD systems don't always have amnesia.
There's still some kind of amnesia, typically.
Not
I
with
don't know.
all the types, I thought. I thought there was one that didn't.
I thought it was just a lot less, but I definitely could be wrong about that. It is a common feature of a lot of systems to have amnesia, particularly between alters, and there are a lot of situations where someone will front suddenly and then often ask me inside what's going on, because I'm always co-fronting, so I'm always watching and I always know what's going on and I can usually fill them in pretty fast. But sometimes they ask out loud and just ask you what's going on. Yeah. So that also struck me as very realistic to DID, and it also not just creativity asking what's going on and not having already known what was going on, but also morality immediately, like as though it's a totally normal and like routine thing to do, immediately just rattling off all of the things that are going on.
And also the speed at which logic is keeping control shows that logic has a very bad control issue and an issue letting go of things.
Absolutely.
And like the speed at which they're just like, okay, moving on, I gotta take the lead, we're doing this, and they don't touch on the fact that they were wrong at all.
Yes, exactly.
It's actually a little bit of an example of someone who's narcissistic and has control issues. Maybe not narcissistic personality disorder, but they have a very high opinion of themselves and their logic and their reasoning. And obviously they should be in the lead and, you know,
at the very least he projects that. Sometimes that's a facade coming from a place of being not remotely confident in yourself, but feeling like it's your job to be the one who's good at a specific thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just, it's an example of that, and I want to point that out too, that that's a thing people do to try and stay in charge, because it seems natural that, you know, oh, someone's just trying to help. And it's like, yeah, but nobody appointed them and they are taking control immediately. And someone could not be okay with that. In the case of anxiety, like, they may not want logic to be in charge because logic's kind of mean sometimes to them.
Yeah. Definitely.
That dollar you borrowed from me 8 years ago? Oh, yeah. Thanks, you newsy hipster theater geek Mark from Rent. And Thomas has not gotten started with his video yet, and I have reason to believe you are the cause of our conundrum. Look, I am out there living the fanciful dream, okay? He couldn't be struggling because of me. Why not Sunshine over here? They already ruled me out, Sir Sing-a-Lot. Ha! I like that nickname, and I'm gonna use it now. I mean, basic ideas are one thing, but a good idea is what I struggle with. Well, if it's not a perfect idea, it's not good enough. You don't want to put out anything but your best. Ah! I think I see a spider behind you. No? Okay, what? Maybe not. It was a shadow. But, see there? That's what first drafts are for. It's better to start, get it done, and improve it afterwards. If you sit around waiting for inspiration to strike, consistency is unattainable. Oh man, I do that. Doo-doo. Well, I suppose you're right. I shouldn't be so picky. Yeah, that has put me in some bad last-minute situations before. My bad.
This is calling you out for your videos. It's just like, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be great. I have to be feeling good. If inspiration is the thing that you're waiting for, inconsistency is the outcome.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's a fine line, though, because I also don't want to turn this into a chore, because I know that will dramatically change my relationship with the whole YouTube idea. So
not making it a chore and taking all fun out of it, but also not waiting for it to be perfect. AKA a balance.
I'm working on it.
A balance, just as all things should be. I don't know the quotes from Star Wars and shit. Something about the Force, good and bad. Yada yada yada.
I don't think that's a line from Star Wars, but good try.
Balanced is... Oh no, that's from Thanos. Shit. I'm good at memory. It's close enough. It's in the star. It involves wars. It's Star Wars.
Star Wars is not every war that takes place in the stars.
Why not? It's in a galaxy far, far away.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, so I know I just need to get started with an idea, but how do I get there? I still feel like putting this whole thing off. Well then, that means there's more to this than just Princey. He's just a pawn. I am a knight, thank you very much. It's not like this is some big conspiracy. Why do I still feel so unmotivated? It's like my heart's not in it. Oh no. What? How could you do it? I trusted you. Wait? What is going on? Something good. Thomas said it himself. His heart's not in it. You're basically his heart. Huh? Ooh, I like dramatic twists. Without you, Thomas lacks the passion to get creative and start this project. Oh, wow. I don't mean to, Thomas. I want to be into it. Well, okay, if he's the culprit and you don't want to be, what can we do? I don't know. Why do you feel like you're lacking passion? I don't know. Feelings, the bane of my existence. Is it because I have $1 and you don't? It's just that when I think about making a video, it's just this weird, mushy vision. Well, that's not good. It's almost like the whole vision isn't there to begin with. Well, yes, we established that in order to have a vision for a video, we need to encourage creativity and come up with a basic idea. No, I mean the whole vision of the creating process. What? This whole time, we've been trying to get at the root of what causes procrastination. I think this could all really be helped by making a plan to avoid procrastination. Well, who should have done that? Me. Wait.
Oh. Yeah, look at that.
I was waiting to see if you were going to see that coming.
So quick to turn the finger towards someone else, and they don't look at themselves at all, and then they accidentally incriminated themselves. And that's the line where like smart manipulators and not as smart ones will mess up.
Yeah.
Because they'll answer something before they realize it, if they get caught up in like their lie or whatever.
Yeah, they'll answer something to continue proving how smart they are before thinking about it and realizing the implications of the thing they said, and that like, they should have lied instead.
Yeah. Most of the time they don't apologize. I'm curious to see if Logic does, because Logic doesn't seem like an inherently bad person. They just have controlling qualities about them.
Yeah.
And like they're
and
a natural
high
born
standards
leader
for himself.
kind of thing. Yeah, that too. So I'm curious. Cool.
This is a bigger ending twist than the Oscars. Stop. You're dating this video. Don't do that. But I've been helping to figure this out. I'm the cause of this, but I'm also the solution to a problem I had caused and will inevitably resolve. Am I in a paradoxical loop where I endlessly generate a problem and try to solve it like a snake devouring its own tail in order to satiate its hunger?
Like my point earlier, I don't think that his control issues are rooted in self-confidence. I think that part of his control issues are projecting self-confidence because he feels like that's his job and the purpose of his existence is to be the one capable of doing those things, and he can't handle being wrong. He can't handle emotions getting in the way of what he needs to do. He can't handle any of that. And I like the idea of thinking about it like it's a trauma response for him.
Yeah. You can have trauma responses that make you think more.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make very clear, I'm not saying to be grateful for your trauma. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
Never be grateful for your trauma. It sucks and it's trauma.
Or at least never let anyone pressure you into being grateful about your trauma.
You don't have to do that. But trauma does inherently teach you a set of survival skills that people should never have.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to go through that kind of situation, but it does teach you a set of skills of, you know, if you're used to listening for footsteps, you may learn to identify your friends by their walking gait and not have to turn around whenever they come close.
Right.
And stuff like that. Logic thinks the way they do because of the trauma they've been through.
Yeah.
And being wrong is not something that can quote unquote feasibly happen for them, because that breaks their concept of I have to be right, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble or get hurt.
Yeah. I've also seen this a lot with alters, particularly protectors, who have a lot of their identity wrapped up in their ability to do their job. And that can make it very difficult for them to handle if they discover that they have been making something worse instead of better, or that they missed something that should have been their responsibility, at least from their perspective, that kind of thing. Like in this case, Logic knows that it was his responsibility to make a plan to avoid procrastinating, and he didn't think to do that. He didn't consciously decide not to. He didn't decide not to do his job, but he didn't think of it, and he is now having an identity crisis over it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, calm down time. It's a lot simpler than whatever you're trying to say.
That was dark even for me.
Yes, maybe I slipped up by not having you, Logic, help me plan ahead to avoid this situation. So many times I finish a project at 4 in the morning, my eyes tired, my brain exhausted, and I'm so proud of myself for doing so, I develop this faulty logic that I can tackle all of my projects like that. But that is such a harmful habit to get into. I could have planned ahead, working in intervals and taking breaks in order to keep my spirits up. I could have gone to another, more productive location with less distractions, like a library. It might have helped me brainstorm and get a little more creative. And a proper plan to address a big project would definitely cut down a lot of the nervousness I feel in starting it.
But not completely.
Shush and make a face of agreement like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But don't feel bad. We'll do better next time. And like Morality said, we should be okay with forgiving ourselves, because sometimes procrastination and mistakes happen. Yeah, all that matters is that we put our noodles together and made a beautiful pasta salad.
You never suspect yourself.
But okay, a plan shall be formulated for the next video. That is certain. And look, this video made itself.
And as usual, you were completely unnecessary.
How dare you speak to Sir Sing-Along that way? See, now I gotta sync out all over again. Rude. I do want to thank you two for helping me. Another case closed, and it's all thanks to a brilliant deduction from Watson. Who? Never mind. All right.
I think that's as close as Logic could get to an apology. And I know it's not an apology. I'm not saying it's an apology, but I think that's the closest he could get to it.
Which is something. It's a start for some people.
Yeah. The two things that he did were to commit to fixing the problem he had caused and give the credit for solving the problem to someone else, which is huge for him. I think it's a pretty good step for him in the right direction.
It's definitely a start.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Logan. That's funny. I could have sworn I had $1 on me.
Why did he call you Logan? That is my name.
Your name is Logan?
Yes. You didn't think I was just Logic, did you?
Does that mean the others have names?
Thomas, can you keep it down? I'm trying to make a plan.
Okay, well, if you all find yourselves lacking...
And that's what it's like to be a host and figure something out and then be like, wait, what? This exists with all of you? Wait, what? No, come back. Wait, no.
Exactly. People do that to me all the time. They'll just say something in passing and they'll be like, I have 200 questions about that, and they'll be like, bye.
Yeah.
No! Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna casually mention that we have X area of the inner world, or Y altar, or Z subsystem, or whatever, and then not tell me anything about it? It's just like, that's extremely rude.
Mm-hmm.
motivation or procrastinating, I hope you're able to deduce the reasons behind it, and you can use any of the ways we covered to fight against it. Do your best to plan ahead, and until next time, take it easy, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Peace out! Wow, I felt like a side character in today's video. That will not stand.
Who are you calling?
My agent, but I've forgotten my password, so it's barred.
You mean locked?
Sure, locked. Sherlock and Watson! Oh, for crying out loud. Make it stop.
Oh my gosh, that just reminded me of when there's just anything remotely chaotic happening close to the front, and I'm just like, what is happening?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Bum, bum, bum.
I love that it recommends Dan's coming out video to me just randomly every so often.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that was 2 DID systems reacting to Sanders Sides losing my motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you liked it. And if you did, you should click the like button if you want to. And subscribe and push the notifications bell so that you know when we upload new videos, because it is possibly, maybe, every weekday. You know, if all goes well. And there are fun links in the description for things like our Discord server, which is super fun and getting more and more active by the day, which is awesome. We do a lot of video planning on there and talking about videos after the fact. There's a wild Charlie.
I can't get her in frame. Here.
Alright.
Charlie has to say bye.
Okay, Charlie's gonna say bye.
So go. What are we doing?
There'll be links at the end of the video that show up on the screen where you can also subscribe and you can watch other videos. You can watch the last time we reacted to Sanders Sides. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!